Hello, hello. My name is Kim Addis. I am the president and founder of Frame of Mind Coaching, and you have just joined the Frame of Mind Coaching podcast, where we invite leaders from all over the world to come onto the podcast and get coached live and in person. Today, my guest is Chris Christopherson, and he comes to us from Vancouver, and he runs a company called WRKOUT Media. I said it wrong. Did I say Chris Christopherson?
Yeah, you did.
I'm totally sorry, but we're going to continue. It's Curtis Christopherson. I don't know. I'm thinking of the singer. That must be it, right?
Happens all the time. Yeah.
I am so sorry. Curtis, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So what do you do with WRKOUT Media? Where are you located? You're in Vancouver, Vancouver proper, or on the outskirts?
Yeah, outskirts of Vancouver, Canada. Yeah.
Okay,
and
where?
Pardon me?
Where specifically?
A town called White Rock.
Okay, I know White Rock. Okay, and what do you do? What is WRKOUT Media?
Yeah, so for the last 22 years, I've been in the health and fitness space. I own a company called Innovative Fitness, which is a premium personal training company. And then through the pandemic, we launched a virtual training company called WRKOUT Media. So we connect users and consumers around the world to a vetted fitness experience, whether it's online or in person.
So give me an example. I'm in Toronto. How do I tap into your services?
Yeah, so if you went to WRKOUT.com, so WRKOUT.com, you could, if you're looking to work with a trainer, a yoga instructor, a Pilates instructor, someone that's at the convenience of either in your home or on the road, you could go to our website and then you could search the trainers or the fitness professionals that you're interested in, and then you can actually connect with them and buy with them directly. And then you could connect with them virtually over a very similar platform like Zoom, or you could book their services in person if they lived locally. So you could train with a yoga instructor in New York, or you could train with a trainer in LA, or you could book someone in person in Toronto, depending on what you wanted. So
wow, so you're like the Uber of trainers.
Yeah, it's like Uber meets Airbnb for the fitness community. Yeah.
That's very, very cool. Okay, so you were running a personal fitness studio or a concept, and then the pandemic hit, and so you pivoted.
Yeah. So for the last 20 years, I've built and grown a company called Innovative Fitness, which is a premium personal training brick and mortar business. We have 225 full-time employees. And that still exists today. During COVID, because we didn't know how long we'd be shut down for, we pivoted online and realized there was a unique opportunity in the virtual training space. And that's how WRKOUT was born. So currently today, I run both companies. I oversee, I have a great executive and management team and leadership team at Innovative Fitness that manages our 12 studios. And then at the same time, we have a startup called WRKOUT Media, which is, what I just described.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds great. And it sounds like you're super busy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what is the challenge you want to talk about today?
Yeah. I think it's relevant for a lot of people out there, especially entrepreneurs or people that are, starting up businesses. I've been in business for 20 years and never has there been a time that I'd say I have the least amount of time, most amount of stress. I have a surviving company and a startup company. And I got 2 kids at home. So a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old that, allocating the time, energy, and focus, can be challenging at times. Sports is more demanding than ever, with young kids. And I don't think business isn't 9 to 5 anymore. So as an entrepreneur and a business person, I think, challenging the responsibility and commitment to your family and your kids at the same time, I guess making a living is definitely a challenge, and I think there comes guilt with that. So,
that's exactly what I was gonna ask you. Talk to me about the guilt. Tell me about what do you feel guilty about, and are you married? Do you have a partner, and what is the arrangement?
Oh yeah, happily married. Been married for the last 10 years, and have a very supportive wife and spouse named Melissa. And she, I think at the end of the day, we definitely, I would say some people say we vibrate at a different level. We love to, take on the world, whether it's business, adventure, family, commitments. And, I think just managing both our expectation, but the expectation of the world these days is very, very difficult. And what I mean by that is, nowadays when you involve your kids in sports, it's not, a 1 day a week practice and a 1 day a week game. It's 3 days a week practice and, a game or tournaments at a very young age. So that is, you want to provide opportunity for your kids, but, you have to draw the line sometimes. So it's balancing act of being disciplined, of around your time, around your energy, around your commitment to your commitments personally, professionally, family wise, you name it. And spouse wise, I think we do a good job, but it doesn't seem to be easy. Not saying that things should be.
So I'm hearing a few things. So just tell me a little bit about the guilt. What do you feel guilty about? Do you feel guilty that you're not giving your kids enough time? Do you feel like you're pushing them too hard? Like what's the guilt about?
I would say, if there's one, area that probably stands out most would be the guilt around focus, time, and attention to, our kids, for sure.
So tell me a little bit about them. You said you have 2 kids and they are, what ages did you say? 7 and 5?
5 and 7, yes.
Okay. And so what are they like? Just tell me a little bit about your kids.
Well, I got an older daughter that's 7 years old, and she's, full of fire and as some people say, she's got a lot of jam. So she does not stop. And keeping her busy and active and engaged is super important. And then our little guy, Easton, he's salt to the earth, very even keel, super steady, and I think he provides a level of groundness to both the dynamic in the family, but also the difference between our daughter and son. They're completely opposite that way.
And when you say he provides grounding in the dynamic, talk to me about the dynamic. What is the dynamic in the family?
Yeah, I just think, I think people have a level of like an energetic field that they operate in, and he vibrates at a much steadier, more calm pace than I would say majority of the home does. And so it allows for that balance that we have, that, it keeps us, I think our family, myself, my daughter particularly, vibrate at probably a higher level. And
when you say vibrate, are you saying that she's highly energetic?
Oh yeah, energetic, like energetic fields, overall spunk for life, taking on, taking on adventures and really not slowing down.
Okay, so I want to go back because you said 2 very important things, but one thing you talked about is the guilt you feel about being focused time and attention on your kids.
Yep.
Okay. So what happens when you're with your kids? Do you feel distracted? Do you feel like you don't have enough time for them? Are you with them, and when you're with them, you're totally focused, but then you feel bad because you're not doing other things? Like, what's actually at play here?
Well, I think it's more of, I've been an entrepreneur and a business owner since I was 21 actually. And, I have not, in my career, built up the business where, I feel anyways that I can shut off or have the ability to hire people to provide me with the boundaries or support that I need. And so, there are times where I guess I feel guilty. It's like, hey, if I didn't have that responsibility as a business owner, would I act and behave differently? If I could, put my phone down, put emails, put my phone on, and it's not phone. Like I use that as an analogy, but it's actually, focus time, mind, where your frame of mind is, and having the ability to not have that stress and that comes with business ownership. Would I be able to be more present with them? So, when you ask the question about what is it like? I would say that there's many times that I'm 100% present. I'm focused, the phone or distractions are away. I'm not thinking about anything else, and I don't feel guilty about not looking at something. But it's more of like, am I going to wake up 10 years from now or 20 years from now and regret that I have a massive responsibility in my businesses and I don't have the flexibility and freedom? People think that, business ownership provides flexibility and freedom. And I think sometimes the opposite, depending on the stage of the business. And yeah, I mean, sometimes I question if that's something that I'm going to regret.
So can you fast forward for me for a minute in your brain and look backwards? So just pretend you're 10 years older, 20 years older. What would you regret? Like if you were to just say, hey, like this is exactly what I'm fear. If I continue on this trajectory, here's what I will regret. Can you name it? Or are you kind of saying, well, I'm not sure if I'll regret it?
I think I'm not quite sure, because I think if I was certain and sure, then I would make the changes accordingly. But if I could try to capture it, looking forward, I don't have balance on a daily or weekly basis. I think I have more balance on a monthly and an annual basis. So, I allocate time. If we go away for vacation and we're gone for 3 weeks, I put things and parameters in place where I can be highly, engaged and available and focused. And that's where I get a lot of value. But daily, sometimes days are, I leave the house at 6 and I come home at, usually I try to get home at 5 or 6, but there are times that are 9 or 10 because, work demands or commitments or you name it. So I think it's more of, parenting is a funny thing because there's no golden handbook, you don't understand it until you're in it. And I think you do the best with what you have. And I hope I'm making really smart choices and decisions. And I just don't want to look back going, hey man, I made mistakes, or I regret the fact that I wasn't available every day equally. That there was balance on a daily basis, not just a monthly and an annual basis. And because some weeks are and days are overwhelmingly busy and some aren't. So I think providing that consistency, I believe that the household and children need a level of consistency. And when it's not consistent, they can't predict that. So
here's a question for you, and then I'll give you some thoughts and feedback. Are your kids complaining that you're not present? Do they want more time with you?
I think so. I think there's times that they say that for sure.
Okay. And how about your wife? Does she say, hey, Curtis, you should, maybe calm down? Or
yeah, the odd time. She's super supportive because she knows the responsibility I have. But, I think there's times that for sure she reminds me to, she's a good reminder. How about that?
And she reminds you to what specifically?
Take a break, slow down.
Okay. All right. So there's a couple of things that I want to share with you, and they are equal and opposite thoughts. Okay. And so you use the word balance an awful lot. And, here's what I think about balance. You ever go to a park and you see two kids on a teeter-totter and they're in perfect balance?
Yeah.
What happens when they're in perfect balance?
Well, someone has to disrupt it eventually. Like they're not.
What's happening right now in this state of balance?
Oh, there's equal weight on both sides.
Yeah, but is there anything happening?
No.
Nothing happens, right?
Yeah.
And so this concept of going for balance isn't really the ideal, because especially someone like you who seems to be not only full of energy, but has high drive and has lots of desires, I don't think balance is the ultimate goal. I think your goal is kind of to be super present wherever you are, which is very different from balance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now the question becomes, how do you become super present wherever you are? And so a lack of presence comes from a few things. Sometimes it's wiring. We're sometimes wired to need all this input and attention. And, some of us just have that higher level of energy where we have to be moving and we have to be doing and we have to, right? Some of us are wired that way. But at the same time, what I notice is that a lot of leaders who feel like they can't get away from work, that feeling comes from a set of beliefs that says, I'm the only one who could do X, Y, and Z. I am needed to be there. I am irreplaceable. There are these things that I do that nobody else could do. And that is a function of a leader who's has a set of beliefs that are getting in the way and aren't necessarily leveraging their resources completely. Okay, so from my perspective, you're not necessarily going for balance. You're the guy who needs that action, that activity, that coming and going. Like, that's just who you are. That's just the way it's going to be. But at the same time, you don't have to be at the mercy of your business. And so the idea is that we want to increase your level of choice, so that if you want to be coming and going and, in it and engaged, it's up to you. Right. It's not ever a function of you saying, well, I have no choice. It's my business. I can't rely on people. I'm just not there yet. So that's the issue that we want to address, to say, hey, if you want to have a little bit more freedom, then let's look at how you are tapping into your resources, how you are leveraging your team, how you are keeping some areas of responsibility that perhaps you can delegate. Let's look at those things that you're holding on to for dear life, and let's look at how we can loosen your grip a little bit and assign some of those tasks and responsibilities to others, and perhaps look at some of the tasks and responsibilities that don't even need to be done. Right? So we want to simplify, we want to eliminate, we want to delegate, we want to really look at your task list and say, let's loosen you up a little bit in terms of what's on your plate. But at the same time, we want to give you choice so that Curtis can say, this is the stuff I want to do. This is the stuff that lights me up. This is the coming and going I want to do, but this is a choice I'm making, as opposed to this is where I am stuck. I have no choice. I'm at the mercy of this business. And so there are two things going on. Totally. One is, Curtis, I think you're the guy who needs that high level of action.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to remove that from you, because that would just kill you. You would just get bored. You would, right? That's not a good thing for you.
Yeah.
Right? Did I nail that?
Yeah.
But the other side of the coin is, you probably don't need to have everything on your plate. And so and what I want to do is, I want to elevate your leadership by saying leaders choose selectively what they're engaged with and what they're not engaged with. And so my guess is that there are a whole bunch of things that you're engaged with that you don't need to be engaged with, that there are other solutions for those things. And so you want to do both. So now the idea is to increase your consciousness about what you're doing when, and that you have choice about how to spend time with your kids. If you want to be present, it's up to you, right? So at no point will you say, I have no choice.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's surprising, right? Because I'm not giving you a hard time for being wired the way you are.
Correct.
I'm saying we got to leverage that, but you need to
have a level of conscious awareness. Yeah.
Exactly. And decide where you really want to spend your time. Because I'm going to guess there are places where you're spending your time that are less than ideal, that aren't leveraging your strengths, that aren't necessary. Yeah. Right. And then the question becomes, when you're with your kids, how do you operate? Are you not only present, but are you enjoying your time with them? Do you get annoyed easily? But that's a whole other level, right? And we can talk about that another day. But hopefully that gave you some things to think about.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. Thank you.
And hopefully it gave you an idea that when we coach people, we don't want to kind of change who they are fundamentally. We want to understand who they are and truly leverage their character, their nature, their wiring, and bring the best of them to the table. And so for you, we want to bring the best of you to the table, all that energy, all that, what did you call it? That vibrating level. We want to make sure it's in place. We don't want to dissipate that. But at the same time, we want you to be able to really make conscious choices. So hope that was helpful. For those of you who are listening, think about your own nature and think about how you vibrate and what energy levels you have, and think about the things that you're doing that perhaps aren't so necessary, the places where you feel trapped, the places where you feel like, man, I can't get out of this, and start to ask yourself if that's actually true. What beliefs do you have that are keeping you stuck in the place of doing things that you feel like there's no one else who can do them? If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and share. Also, we're always looking for podcast guests. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast and you're willing to share a challenge, please reach out to me. My email address is kim@frameofmindcoaching.com. And if you have a challenge that perhaps you'd like to share, but not on the podcast, please reach out to me as well. Again, my email address is kim@frameofmindcoaching.com. Curtis, thank you so much for
thank you very much
on this podcast.